Hello and welcome to ET-CFO. Today we have with us Hitesh Sawhney, who is the partner of Corporate Tax and International Tax, PwC. Hello and welcome, sir.
Hello.
The government is talking about decriminalizing the Income Tax Act and the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. And, this is as a part of, building up the 5 trillion economy. So, do you think it's a step in the right direction?
I personally feel it is because there are so many provisions under the income tax law which makes it a non-compliance as a criminal offense. There are certain amount of harassment being faced by the directors for some of the petty issues. So I think there has to be an issue which really warrants such types of an action. You can't bring in criminal proceeding for each and every non-compliance. We have seen tax department last 2 years have been extensively using the prosecution notice for some of the lesser default, like if you have not withhold taxes and paid taxes on the time, they issue a prosecution notices. That's it's not the case. You have withheld it and you have not deposit for a longer, or you have not even deposit. There is a delay for which already there is a penal consequence of an interest and penalty. But on top of it, initiating a prosecution kind of a proceeding is a pretty far-fetched. So I think there is a need to rationalize that. I'm not saying to take away completely, but reduce it to the specific provision which warrants a willful default, a willful evasion of taxes. So that there is a need. You can't have these kind of a provision for each and every type of a default.
So do you think there is completely ease of doing business as of now in the industry? And what are the other steps that the government could take to in building up a 5 trillion economy?
So this ease of doing business is a pretty wide in a way. So it not only restrict to tax, but I can tell you purely from a tax perspective, the government has reduced taxes to bring out. I think what the corporate need is a certainty and stability. So they don't like tinkering with the tax rate, tinkering with the provision very often. And I think the main thing which can impact is a relationship between the taxpayer and the tax department administratively. That will go a long way in ease of doing business. The interaction, maybe by way of e-assessment or something. Because today, even if the taxpayer goes to the tax department for any proceeding, I think the kind of difficulties which they have to face, whether it's a demand, stay of demand, the kind of responses, that's where the thought process and administrative has to change a bit. It has to be more service oriented rather than just looking at that everybody is trying to evade taxes. So that's a differentiation which will help along in a ease of doing business.
Very interesting point, because recently Nirmala Sitharaman has also said that they want to make laws that do not look businesses with suspicion. So in doing that, what do you think are the major measures that government should take to build that confidence amongst India Inc.?
They have to go consistently on their policy. They should not do a knee-jerk reaction by where there is a reduction in the collection. They are going all out, because even today, if you see the tax, there is a reduction in the collection. The department people reach out to the taxpayer, do surveys, look suspiciously that they are not paying enough taxes or something. Those kind of steps, administratively, I think we have a good framework right now. It is just how administratively we implement it. That is something which needs to change. To me, there is not a regulation which is required on the legal side. It's the administrative side which makes a lot to make ease of doing business.
Which is the point that you were mentioning earlier.
I think
more on the servicing side.
From a tax, we have already reduced the rate on the corporate tax side. It's not that we are high-paying tax country now any longer. There are certain issues on certain taxes which can be addressed in a short and a long term. But barring that, the regime is there. It is how you implement it is a challenge.
So my last question to you is, you must be having a lot of interaction with CFOs. In those interaction, what are the major concerns that the CFOs have, in doing business in the current times, and what is the business outlook for 2020?
Most of the CFO is struggling with the pace at which the government is making a changes, whether it is any law. for them, any change brings up the disruption in their processes, in their IT systems. So they want that government should really make changes according to the, not at that fast pace, if at all, but slow down that pace, give them a time to adjust to it. Right now, too much of things were happening the GST side. Last 2 years, what we have seen, there were changes being made. Even today, if you know, GST every fortnight or 2 months there is a change in the form, reconciliation, and which takes a lot of their time on the procedural aspect. I think most of the CFO wants that there should be a stable policy which goes from a longer term perspective rather than a short, and they don't want any short term changes to happen. The more the certainty, the more the stability is everybody's CFO looks.
All right, sir. Thank you so much for your inputs.
Thank you.
Thank you.